Three things that therapists wish you didn't know, coming from a psychotherapist with 3,000 plus hours of experience. Number one is therapists have their own problems. Don't fall for that therapist persona. There's often more going on than meets the eye. I've worked with a lot of different therapists, a lot of different psychologists, a lot of different practitioners in different teams, and I'm yet to meet somebody who is exempt from the nature of human existence, which is that you're going to have problems, you're going to have difficulties sometimes, and they're often going to be psychological in nature, and they may even manifest in certain symptoms. Naturally, due to the requirements of the professional role, it's unlikely for your therapist to ever reveal as much, and it's probably best that it stays that way in all honesty for most cases. But it is happening. Your therapist will have things that they're dealing with, and they're not perfect. They're human, and they're the same as everybody else. They have difficulties and psychological problems as well. Number two, we notice more than we let on. There are times when we may notice things and not address them, and not kind of outwardly verbalize or give voice to what we've observed. For instance, I know, especially with more experienced therapists, they can be quite good at determining whether somebody's going to attend for a second session after their first appointment. And again, that's just, I guess, a therapist's sense that's developed over multiple hours of practice. But again, that doesn't mean it's something you're going to come out and say. You're not going to say, hey, I don't think you're going to come back next week, and let's talk about it. A lot of your time, your therapist will respect that, we're not all ready for therapy, and therapy is really challenging. Relationships are challenging. You might not get along with your therapist, and that's super natural and okay. And so your therapist might not address it and might not verbalize it. But again, they often will notice things, they might not let on about it. And again, that's often due to kind of respecting your autonomy and ultimately, allowing you to experience what you're experiencing and do with it what you're going to do with it. We don't have all the answers. That's number three. We don't have all the answers. Now, I think that typically when we don't have the answers, I know I will typically inquire further and try and gather more information so that a more coherent answer can emerge. But sometimes we don't know. It's the honest answer, and it's because people are complicated, and they can have complicated problems, and it's not a manualized process all of the time, therapy. Sometimes the obvious answer isn't necessarily the right one. And in these circumstances, we have to be able to think and reflect and properly consider things. And that means that we won't always have that neatly packaged answer to kind of hand over. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to find that answer eventually and arrive upon it collaboratively, ideally. So they're the three main things that I guess your therapist probably wish you didn't know.